At some point, I know the audience will just stop believing me because our reports about Trump spokeswoman Katrina Pierson are getting more and more and more ridiculous over time. But the reports have all been true, and I have yet another report for you today that may be hard to believe, but it is all too real. After last week, presidential candidate Donald Trump said that President Obama founded ISIS. Now, Katrina Pierson went back on CNN and said it's actually President Obama who invaded Afghanistan. Now, of course, that's not true. It makes absolutely no sense to just suggest that. It was in 2001 under George W. Bush that the United States entered Afghanistan. Doesn't matter. Of course, this is the same Katrina Pierson who defended a call for a pure breed president, the same Katrina Pierson who blamed a soldier's death in 2004 on President Obama, who didn't become president until January of 2009. Here she is on CNN saying, hey, you know what? President Obama is responsible for the U.S. invading Afghanistan. Take a look.
Trump campaign is back with us now. And Katrina, I just want to, for factual sake, or sake of just correct information, when you said that Barack Obama took the country into Afghanistan, it was not during the, of course, as you know, during the Obama administration when we first went into Afghanistan.
No.
It was shortly after.
We're talking about ISIS specifically.
Okay, right. but your statement was that Barack Obama took us into Afghanistan and it was his war. It was President Bush who took the country into Afghanistan shortly after 9/11. But I want to get to
I thought we were talking about the founding of ISIS. I mean,
okay.
ISIS came out of the Obama side of the war.
Oh.
Is that not a fact?
No, it is not a fact, because in 2004, as I stated in the last segment, that AQI, Al-Qaeda in Iraq, was started by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, and then in 2006, it morphed into Iraq, the Islamic State in Iraq, and then later became the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria.
Absolutely.
But let me get to,
yes, and after the search, but also, Victor,
in 2004, we weren't in the Obama administration. I think the facts here are important.
This was also Obama saying that they were the JV team. Again, the incompetence of even recognizing the threat while he was in office, and then to make it worse, going into Libya and creating a vacuum, leaving all of those weapons behind, essentially arming the enemy.
I hear that argument, but that's not the argument that Donald Trump has been making. He has made over the last several days that Barack Obama was the founder of ISIS and then said it was sarcastic. He's put his supporters and his surrogates, as we saw this morning, in a really difficult place, not knowing when he's being sincere, when he's being sarcastic.
Hey, Katrina, nothing you're saying is true. I love how whenever she's called out on her lies, she tries to find some middle ground. Like, oh, hey, Katrina, when you said Obama took us to war in Afghanistan, you were completely factually wrong. Okay, but Victor, can't we agree that at least Obama is the Antichrist and responsible for the death of John F. Kennedy? No, Katrina, we also can't say that. And this is a known technique, Lewis, to try to find the middle ground, to sort of try to establish some agreement from which then you can have smaller differences. But she just fails miserably every single time.
She really, we think she should be fired because she seems to be completely incompetent. But then who would take her place is the real question.
Healy Baumgardner.
Healy Baumgardner, I know, it's scary. And yeah, it's just nonstop Obama bashing. I'm not sure what that achieves. She just spews nonsense like Trump all the time. And although I will say this, at least she admits, even if it's just a one-word admission, she will admit when she said something completely false.
She said no, in other words, agreeing that no, it was not true what she said, but a whole bunch of other reasons why you should still accept basically everything she says without any kind of scrutiny whatsoever. Anything else would be liberal media bias. I've actually been hearing from people, as Trump likes to say, people are telling me that President Obama actually assassinated Franz Ferdinand and set in motion the events that led to World War I. Now, I'm not saying that, but people have been telling me that, Lewis, and maybe we need to stop for a second and figure out what the hell is going on.
There's only so far you can go in retroactively blaming Obama for things that happened when he wasn't even a senator.
I feel like the late 90s are the limit for what you can blame Obama for. Now, of course, he was basically a kid at the time, but that's about as far back as you can go. World War I, World War II, that's a little too far.
It is a little too far, but Ms. Pierson and Trump might say you haven't taken it far enough. So maybe even the Civil War we can blame Obama for.
I've talked about how people of all ages, but particularly millennials, are owning cars less and participating more in the sharing economy. And one of the more popular options is Zipcar, which gets you a car when you want it, when you need it. They offer all sorts of cars, SUVs, hybrids, whatever you need. It includes insurance and it includes gas. You just pay for the time that you actually use the car. And you can reserve the car online from your smartphone over the phone. Then you unlock it with your Zip card. Each car share member reduces their personal CO2 emissions by between 1,100 and 1,600 pounds per year. For our audience, Zipcar is offering $25 of free driving credit if you sign up at joinzipcar.com/David. Support our show, reduce your carbon emissions and your spending on cars. Sign up at joinzipcar.com/David.